Well, hello. It's been a couple weeks. We're going to talk about the Fresh and Fit podcast and how it was soft canceled. Soft canceled meaning demonetized and basically kind of coerced so that they're not going to receive any of the growth or the money that they used to receive previously. Why should you care though? Like if you never watched the show, you don't care about the show, you don't like it, why does this affect you? Why is this important? Well, it turns out it's greatly important for you, even if you didn't even like the show. It's actually really important for you to pay attention to. So we're going to talk about that today. All right, I'm Paul, and this is Apex Mindset, and we're going to discuss the whole fresh and fit thing just for a minute. This is going to be kind of a short one. All right. And so, why should you care that they were canceled? When I say canceled, it was more of a soft cancel. All right. That means that they were demonetized. They can't receive super chats. They can't receive support. They can't receive advertising dollars on the YouTube platform. They had grown their channel in a few years up to over 1 million supporters and 1 million followers. And then they had the rug pulled out from underneath them. Now, there's people out there that watch me and that love the show, and that's like something they like to watch and whatever. And there's people that watch me that don't like the show or they're not interested, don't care about it. And there's people that actually hate the show. All right. Well, whatever your opinion is on that, okay, whatever your opinion is on the show, it's actually important for you to pay attention to this and why it's important to understand why they were more or less demonetized and kind of deplatformed in a way. Okay. And also why we should support them, whether you like them or not. All right. And so this is really, really important. So first we'll talk about YouTube algorithms and how they work. You guys think, or at least the majority of people think, that popularity on YouTube is based strictly on audience participation and audience, basically people wanting to watch the show. Audience popularity. If people like the show, if people like somebody's channel, then the channel is going to do well. If they don't like it, it doesn't. Unfortunately, though, that is not true. That's not actually how it works. I wish it were that fair or that way, but it isn't. How it works on platforms like YouTube, okay, is that your popularity is partly based on whether or not people like you, but it's also partly based on whether or not YouTube and advertisers decide to push your material out in order for people to like you. So those are two separate things, okay? Pushing your material out to new viewers, new listeners, so you can gain that popularity is the gatekeep between you and an audience, all right? There's thousands, probably millions of content creators out there. There's tons of stuff out there. How is it that you come across a video or a piece of information versus a different video or a different piece of information? What is the cause of that? What is the cause of, well, I'm interested in learning more about, advice for my relationship. I do a little search on Google, maybe I do a little search on YouTube, and I get a bunch of videos. Why is it that somebody's videos are showing up in your search versus somebody else? And that is an algorithmic control mechanism that gatekeeps between you and viewing something else. Now, it's presented as if this control mechanism is fair, and kind of balanced and made in such a way where it benefits the end user, you. And in a lot of ways, that's true. A lot of those mechanisms are to benefit you, right? So like when you do a search on something and you watch a couple videos on a particular topic, well, when you're just sort of scrolling, you'll get other videos from the same creator or other creators on those similar topics, right? YouTube is the biggest search engine that we have available outside of Google. And so it's picking up on all the things you're searching for and then helping promote, information to you, what you would want to watch. And so there's an element of, that because they want to keep you on YouTube longer so they can advertise to you longer. The key for any tech company is to get you on their platform and to keep you on the platform, right? And so they're going to try to promote things that would be of interest to you. And they're going to want to promote the things that would make you watch it the longest. All right. And so that can be the best, the best content in some ways. The idea is anyway, that the best content will, get promoted the most because it gets the most engagement, it gets the most watch time. And so you got two measures. You got it's subscribers, by the way, are not a measure past 1,000 subscribers. So once a channel reaches 1,000 subscribers, subscriber as a metrics doesn't mean anything. So like the fact that Fresh and Fit at a million subscribers plus, over 1 million subscribers actually didn't matter as far as their bottom line is concerned and as far as their reach is concerned to new audience members. What mattered was the click through, which means when these videos show up, does someone click on it because they're curious, and the watch time. So after they click on it, how long do they watch it? Okay. So those are the two measures that matter. And so if people are clicking on it and people are watching it, then that's going to make it more popular and that's going to make it show up. And so that's kind of how it works. But what we're not hearing about is the censorship. So we're going to get into that in a minute. Now, let's look at now, okay, we got click through, we got watch time, we have that whole thing. Now, where is that being exposed to? So is it being exposed to 1 million people as soon as I come out with this video? Does it just go to 1 million people all of a sudden? No. What happens is it goes to people who, like yourself, who are subscribed, who have clicked the notification bell, right? So you might get notified. Or if you've watched a series of my videos for a length of time, where it would show up in your main page when you open up YouTube. And so that's how you get notified or hear about a video I do, a new video or something, right? And so within the first hour, this video that I'm doing right now gets exposed to my audience based on that criteria I just gave you. And so it gets exposed to my audience, and it's a few hundred of those people, right? And then after a few hundred of those people, based on you clicking on it and then watching the video, at least to a certain point, then that YouTube decides based on that number, okay, we're going to send it out to now the next few hundred, maybe 1,000. Well, we'll send it out to the next few thousand. When we'll send it out to, we'll make it show up in new searches for people. Because YouTube is determined based on your participation, whether or not the video is worthy of a new audience. Okay. So when I get a few hundred people and then that builds to 1,000 or so, like it's already getting to new people. New people are seeing my thumbnail, seeing my title, clicking on the video potentially, and then watching it for a certain amount of time. So that's how it all works. Here's the problem though. Here's what they're not telling you is they're not telling you how they censor these videos based on ideas. Okay. So YouTube has terms and conditions, and a lot of these terms and conditions are very interpretive and very vague. They're not really specific. And so you have these very unspecific, in a lot of ways, terms and conditions, and, what's considered appropriate content or not for advertisers. You have a lot of things that are just not really that clear. And then based on whether or not you get flagged, so your channel can get flagged or the particular video can get flagged. Sometimes you'll know if it's flagged because it'll tell you, from the content creator perspective, it'll tell you, okay, this is limited, meaning it's only going out to, only limited advertisement. all right, that they're allowed to have show on this video. But a lot of times, though, your entire channel can be flagged for what we can tell, and you don't even know that, which means that your videos on your channel are not getting promoted to new people at the same rate. That's what we call a shadow ban. Okay, so I'm basically shadow banned. Now, a lot of people don't believe in that. Well, the people that don't believe in that either don't know how the algorithms work, or they never have been shadow banned, so they don't know what that's like. I can have a video that does better with my audience than somebody else's video with better, and I'm not the greatest YouTuber here, right? But I've, since got into how to do a proper thumbnail, how to do good titles, how to have good enough production value for the types of video I'm doing. I will often have better the content I argue is better than a lot of people's, but the production value even going up, it still runs into struggles where YouTube will not span it out to a wider audience because of the nature of the topics that I'm talking about. And so that's something that I've run into, and I'm not a safe bet for YouTube to span out to a wider audience to make advertising dollars off of. Now, Fresh and Fit, the nature of their platform and how they did it, they were a safe bet more or less on pushing out. They're almost like too big in a way to fail. Like they could, not promote their channel, but other people would still want to watch it. I'm an informational channel. I'm giving you information. So there's a limit to what people are going to want to watch for information. Whereas entertainment or infotainment, something that's a bit more entertaining, basically, if you get some girls on a show to give their opinion, no matter how idiotic the opinion may be, all right, not saying all girls have idiotic opinions or anything, but the particular girl, the talent pool they were pulling from often and usually did have idiot opinions. And then you would have this controversial back and forth that is entertaining for people to watch, very much like Jerry Springer was entertaining back in the day, or your daytime talk shows are entertaining. That's a platform that works. And so like infotainment, it's only going to be so popular, but or rather information channels like mine are only going to be so popular. On my channel, you're going to learn stuff and you're going to be able to action it into your life. Infotainment, however, that's going to be much more popular because people want to see, people enjoy watching basically controversy. And so in order to be extremely popular on YouTube, you either already had to be famous to begin with getting on YouTube, or you topics that were so niche, you know what I mean? That it just like, that there wasn't a lot of competition and the quality of your videos were high enough in that particular niche where you just blow the competition out. And so you could get big that way, or in a space of where we talk about relationship dynamics and dating and men and women and feminism, or, what non-feminism, I don't even call it misogyny or whatever, right? Stuff that talks about these controversial things. You either have to be so controversial that you're almost too big for them to want to shut down, or you can't be controversial at all. So that's where it's at. So this is why the channels that seem to grow the fastest are very controversial to a point where they're probably going to get canceled at some point, but they're so controversial and that they bring in a wide audience, or they're not controversial at all and they're pretty watered down. So you guys are trying to get advice from these channels, but a lot of times it's very watered down and they're not giving you good advice. You know what I mean? And so like, and a lot of these people, I don't, disregard their advice. Some of it's good advice, but it's just a watered down version. They're not going to say things that are truthful in fear of being too divisive. They're going to dance around a lot of things. So your most popular channels that aren't using sensationalism and controversy to grow in this arena that I'm in with you guys are going to be usually dancing. They're going to be walking around certain ways of saying things, certain topics. You're just not going to get the blind truth from them. If you want that, you just have to get off of YouTube for it, And so that's the struggle we run into here. And what we're really dealing with, though, so what's the point of all this? Like, who gives a shit? Well, we're dealing with censorship based on ideas, is what we are. You're not allowed to have free thought, okay, on your platforms. I can't do I've had free thought on this platform that you're watching right now, and I have no growth. I'm completely stagnant, despite evidence of popularity amongst the people that do see my stuff. See, because that's how it works. People see your stuff in small amounts, comments, like it, subscribe, watch the video. I have high numbers there, but then I don't have evidence of being sent out to other people. There's another element here too I should mention is demographic. Certain demographics are allowed to say certain things and other demographics are not allowed to say certain things. As a white heterosexual male, there is less I am allowed to say from terms of censorship than somebody who is not a white person and, let's say, heterosexual male, or somebody who is, not heterosexual. Okay. And a male could say and get away with saying things that I can't get away with. A female in the space of, intergender dynamics and relationship dynamics can get away with saying a lot more than a male, right? Of the same things. And they can be more divisive about it too if they want to be. I'm not, dogging on any of the females who are content creators who talk about certain topics. It's just the reality is they're allowed to do stuff, whereas I am not allowed to do stuff. Myron and Fresh over at Fresh and Fit, they're allowed to say a certain amount of things as being in their demographic, but certain things, let's say, against whatever certain controversial topics, they're not allowed to say. And it's a bit unfair, and it's not free. And that's my whole point. And you need to understand that there is no free exchange information here. Okay. The free of exchange of information is going to be behind a paywall. It's not going to be here. Now, who cares? Why does it matter? Well, it matters because your ideas are being manufactured for you. That's why. Your ideas are being manufactured. It's the programming, it's the matrix, okay, that people talk about or whatever. They're being manufactured for you so that you ignore certain parts of the world, okay, don't do anything about those, and you pay attention to other parts, which would involve you basically spending your money someplace. All right. Advertising dollars are the basis of whether or not somebody is censored or not on these platforms. We used to have, and now some people might come on and say, well, Fresh and Fit, they had controversial people on. They had people like Nick Fuentes, who, I never watched these episodes, by the way, and I don't watch a lot of their episodes, to be honest, but, who was like Holocaust deniers, crazy stuff, right? Stuff that I don't agree with. Okay. But they had these people on. Well, I just did a quick search, and I was going to play the video, but we're already getting too long on this one. It's not that important, but I did a search on like Dr. Phil, who was very mainstream, right? Dr. Phil had on white supremacists. Dr. Phil, Oprah had on controversial figures. You see, so they were allowed to have on a white supremacist or a Holocaust denier, something crazy, right? Crazy stuff. But Fresh and Fit does it, and they're not allowed to. Why are they not allowed to? Well, because they're labeled conservative. They're labeled misogynistic by certain parts of the world. They're labeled, or certain parts of the media, they're labeled anti-feminist. And because they're not, we'll say Democrat-leaning, left-leaning feminists, they're not allowed to have this person have these discussions. Now, it's not like they were, I don't know, but it's not like there's like, it's like this pro-hate, pro-support of this stuff. On the talk shows like Dr. Phil, for example, when he had on white supremacist, he wasn't a pro-white supremacist guy. He wasn't pro like anti this, anti that. It was just a discussion on these topics. And if anything, you walked away from the show not thinking very favorably about the, the extremists. You know what I mean? And I'm not sitting here even defending anything that they've done on their show that was a bit more controversial like that. I didn't watch any of those episodes. I'm not interested in any of those episodes. I'm not really, it's not really my thing, you know. And in their show, I've seen a couple episodes I've liked, but for the most part, I don't watch their stuff. All right. And that has to do with most content creators in this space. I'm busy doing research and development on actual scientific studies and looking at a lot more in-depth stuff that I don't have time to sit here and YouTube and regurgitate what crap that other people talk about. If anything, the things I talk about in this arena of relationship dynamics and also mindset related issues, I know more than they do. And so that's why I don't use them as resources. It's going to just pollute what I have to say to you guys. All right. And so you have to understand, you know what I mean? That there's a vast amount of censorship that goes on here. And you're either smart enough to see it or you're too stupid. That's just like all it is. You're either dumb and you're just going to be dumb and you're just going to drool on yourself and binge watch, you know, controversial crap and read controversial bullshit on your social media. And that's what's going to attract you to things. And you're going to do nothing to change or fix or better yourself. That's either you or you're going to see it for what it is. And you're going to, because you can see, okay, there is a concerted effort to try to sway my opinions and ideas in a way that's not necessarily going to benefit me. And in fact, not going to benefit my relationship partners, people that I date, not going to benefit if I have a family, my children, not going to benefit my social circles, my community. That there are people trying to sway your opinions in a certain way, and they're using algorithmic censorship in order to do so. You can binge watch my stuff. You're going to have the most actionable things in that you're going to find in most channels to really help yourself and help your relationships. And it's all for free, you know, like just here on YouTube. But, and I'm grateful for having that platform. But the reality is my stuff won't get pushed out mainstream because the mainstream thinking and the advertising dollars does not go towards you being happy. Happy and content people who are successful and happy in their relationships, they spend less money on bullshit. Right? That's just a reality. And so keeping you in a state of anxiety, keeping you in a state of dissatisfaction is what's going to cause you to buy more crap that is being marketed to you on these platforms. And so if I'm giving you advice that is going to tell you to ignore a lot of BS, ignore extremist thinking on both sides, to focus on relationship dynamics in a way that are effective so that you can have better results with girls in your life. Most of you guys are males watching me, minus like 10% of you, but you know, you're going to do better in your relationships, do better dating. You're going to be more attractive. You know, your mindset's going to be in a better place. If that's the message I'm sending you, but I'm not doing it in a watered down bullshit, like feel good way that's not actionable, which is what a lot of the popular self-help stuff is, but I'm giving it to you straight and in an actionable way. What's going to happen is it's not, if you guys are actioning that stuff, it just doesn't benefit, you know, it just doesn't benefit the advertising dollars. And so that's what we're running into is we're running into a massive amount of censorship here, and Fresh and Fit is caught in the middle of it. They weren't in a situation where people didn't want to watch their stuff. In fact, they had shows, the live shows cut, okay, from some of the more controversial stuff because they were 200,000 plus live viewers. That I might have like by the end of this 100 and some couple hundred live viewers that come in and out. They had 200,000 people live watching it because they were interested. And so if that doesn't, you know, support advertising dollars, I don't know what does. But because of ideology and because of censorship, they had those shows taken off and cut. And they weren't necessarily in violation of rules and agreements. It's only if you were to twist and look at it in a certain way that they would be in violation of that. No more different than Dr. Phil was in any violation of any agreement by bringing on a controversial character. That doesn't mean he agrees or supports that character. You know, it was just a discussion, and having reasonable discussions and free thought, even if you're giving an audience to somebody that is a terrible person, and maybe, or you don't agree with, being able to have the freedom to do that is what allows you to have free thought. And right now, free thought is under attack, and it's being done so through social media platforms. We used to have freedom of speech. We don't have it anymore on social media platforms. We had freedom of the press. That was really important, which meant that, yes, there were government guidelines and stuff, which is funny that you'd have government guidelines on something free, but there were some government guidelines on what you could and couldn't say, but that was very, very spelled out by the FCC and often fought against in the court system. I mean, there was a platform to fight against it, right? Because freedom of the press was so important, because without freedom of the press, your ideas get manufactured for you. We see that in communist and totalitarian countries. Well, here we're in a place now where in a westernized world, we don't have freedom of the press because companies like YouTube, Facebook, whoever, are private companies where they're given the freedom to decide what messages they are allowed to have and what aren't. Well, the problem with that is it's just like YouTube is no different at this point than like CNN or Fox News. More people get their news and their media from social media platforms than they do from news sources. So content creators need to be protected free speech wise in a similar fashion that media sources were once protected. And they're not. There isn't that protection. And in fact, it isn't even clear. The Dr. Phil thing, again, for example, if he was going to have a controversial character on, there was like a representative from his network and representatives that would tell, hey, here's what is okay and here's what's not okay for the network and for, you know, so there's a level of censorship, but the difference was it was clear. When a guest came on in a daytime TV show and it was controversial, that those producers and that, you know, those people understood a bit more clearly what they could and couldn't do based on the criteria. As a YouTube content creator, I have no idea what I can and can't do. I mean, I have some idea. I shouldn't say no idea, but there isn't an idea of where the line is. There isn't an idea. There is no discussion. There is no, you know, there's warnings, but they're faceless. They're nameless. You don't get an email from anybody. There's no personal contact. And they do that intentionally. They do that on purpose so that they can manufacture your ideas and they can censor ideas that are unfavorable and suppress ideas that are unfavorable. And they could promote ideas that are more favorable. But what is more favorable more often than not isn't things that are going to help you. They're not going to help you. They're not going to help your community. They're not going to help your family. They're not going to help your dating and relationship life. They're not going to help you be more successful. They'll help you work for somebody else. They'll help you be a slave to a system. They'll help you buy more shit, but they're not going to help you do better. Okay. So I'm already more time than I wanted to spend on this. But my point in all of this is you need to see it for what it is. I know this channel is about mindset. It's about relationship dynamics, but understand you have socially conditioned ideas right now. Probably I've had them. We all have them. Socially conditioned ideas that are put through, and other ideas are censored, and these socially conditioned ideas are promoted. And they're things that lead to problems in your life. Okay. They're ideas and thought processes and frameworks that lead to mistakes, lead to, you know, poor behavior and a poor way of thinking, and also increase your anxiety and increase your stress, you know, and they don't help you do better. They make you do worse. There's a concerted effort out there to have you do worse, not have you do better. So whether you like Fresh and Fit or not is not the point. I never really watched the show. I'm okay with Myron. I like him as a person from when I knew him. I don't know him that well anymore. Since he got popular, we've kind of lost a bit of touch. I have friends that of mine who are closer friends with him, and they say he's cool. So I'm going to go with what they say, but he's always been cool to me. He's been cool to my friends, whatever. I don't know Walter. I don't know Fresh, right? I've been told he's cool by my friends. So I'll go with that until I have a chance to interact with him, or if I ever have that chance. My reason for doing this particular show after being off for a few weeks, for those of you know why I've been off, good for you. For those of you who don't know, you'll just have to guess. But um the reason I'm doing this is to have this discussion, because not it's like in so much in support of their show, man. You guys got to love them. They're great. I mean, if you love them, go love them. That's fine. I'm not telling you not to. I don't really know. Like, I've known they've done some good interviews on people that I know and like. They also do a lot of shows I'm not interested in too. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? But I do support their rights to do their show. I do support their freedom to have free thought and free discussion, even if I think the discussion they're having is stupid, which happens a lot, not just with their show, but with a lot of people. I'm like, why are they talking about this? This is dumb. And I watch something different. However, they should have the freedom to do so and not have their voice suppressed. Now, are they completely suppressed? No, they still have a YouTube channel, but it's coercion. It's demonetization. It's a lot of things. It's being coercive. Can they go to Rumble? Yeah, they can. But unfortunately, the wide number of people in the public are too stupid to take 2 or 3 extra steps to get to get the information they want. So most people, if it doesn't show up in their YouTube feed, they're just not going to do anything else. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to encourage you to do something different than that. I'm encouraging you to get off YouTube more, go to places like Rumble and see what's there. If you like their show, go to Rumble, like their stuff, and follow their stuff there. Make sure, like, if you like my stuff, I know this is not my normal topics, right? But if you like my stuff, guys, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit the notification bell. It helps me a little bit. Even if I have struggles with the algorithms, it still helps me. I got a new channel called Apex Inner Game. I haven't known what to do with it in 6 months. I have a couple of good videos over there. Go subscribe to that, because I'm probably going to have more stuff go there. This channel is about dead. I'm still going to be here for you guys that like my shit and you want to have conversations with me. This is more like personal between me and you over here. This channel isn't going to grow. Okay. It's just not. It's already been capped. My next channel, that may grow. So I'm going to focus on things, and I'm going to try as best as I can to abide by the rules. You know what I mean? But I'm not clear on what those are half the time. So I may get shadow banned over there. I don't know, but I'm going to do the best I can. I appreciate your support. But my point in it is this, is that use your critical thinking skills. Don't just follow what the advertisers and the tech companies and search engines are feeding you, because a lot of that stuff, it goes back to what I talk about in my mastermind material with those guys are with me for a year. We're unplugging dudes from a lot of bad ideas. All right. And the guys are finding themselves and finding their own ideas. Okay. Well, the process of that, you have to understand that when somebody else is giving you or manufacturing idea for you, the reason for them manufacturing that idea has everything to do with them and a lot less to do with you. That idea might benefit you, but it might not. And a lot of times it doesn't. And it certainly benefits them more. Goes back to frame too. Do you have your own frame, or are you in the frame of your social conditioning, your programming, your parents, your political ideology or group? What is it? I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm just here to help you have happy relationships and have a good mindset so you can achieve what you want. That's all I'm here for. I'm going to go look at some comments, because I've been here have been gone for a little bit. So see what we got, I got a lot of dumb comments. We're going to ignore that. Let's see here. we can look at this one here. Your material is too high level. The masses don't want to know deeper mind sciences. No, they don't. And I've accepted that. I'm okay with that. If I have a tighter group of people who action things in their life, I would rather have that than millions of followers of people who just want to, be entertained by me. I'm not that fucking entertaining, to be honest. So like, and it's maybe I am. I don't know, but it's like, it's I'm here. My passion is in helping you guys do better, giving you guys actionable advice. And I do it, for free here. Behind paywalls, there's just more accountability and it's more in depth and it's more specialized. That's all it is. So I'm here to get you to where you want to go, because the more you guys that are having good relationships and a good mindset, the better human beings you're going to be, and you're going to affect your communities out there. That's how the world's fucked up, but if your world is good, that's what matters. All right. You can't do anything about the big world out there that's continually declining, but you can do something about your world, your personal world. That's what we're doing something about. You're going to create your environment, your world where things are good. You know what I mean? Not just sort of, you know, take shit in the bed like everybody else. What's this one? I need to prove myself. Well, I don't know what to tell you, man. The way I prove myself really is through my clients, and guys getting results. I mean, I'm not going to prove myself through algorithms. I've already, maybe you could host and maybe you could host a Rule Zero. Hey man, I used to do that all the time, and it does help a little bit. But again, it won't help on a large scale. Guys like, guys that consistently put out content that the algorithms help are the ones that get boosted. I appreciate the what you call it though, the suggestions. I do. And I've had experts and different people look at it, and they can never the right answer is the fact that there is a censorship model. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to do better, in terms of my videos, do better in terms of what I do the other channel. I'm not going away. I'm going to continue to do better. I need to actually start posting on Rumble, right? To diversify things. I mean, there's a lot of things I'm going to do. It'll be just fine. But this isn't so much to talk about me. It's really to talk about you guys and what you're doing and selecting to watch, what you are consuming, and you need to pay attention to that. Thanks for the super chat. I really appreciate it, man. You, Ryan, and Cappy are like mathematicians, straight to the point. Rollo too in his books. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And that's why we get together on that Rule Zero thing. I'm not always, in on the topics on Rule Zero or whatever, but I'm there on that panel for a reason, and I support all those guys. Cool. Well, thanks again, guys. Again, I'm back. Those of you have questions about why my head's shaved, that'll be for the next video. All right. Take care.